Bam, ba, bam, bam, bam. Bam, ba, bam, 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 ba, 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 bam, bam, ba, bam, bam. It's season 19 of Apex Legends, and you still have yet to drop your first 4K damage badge. Well, luckily for you guys, I have the exact secrets on how to drop your first 4K damage badge, even as a solo queue player this season. And so for the first tip that I would like you guys to do is to eliminate any excuse that you may have, okay? Go into this video with that mindset as I give you guys some commentary over some solo queue 4K footage that I got about a week ago. Excuses are the biggest inhibitor to your success in all aspects of life, and especially within Apex. The reason why you are not able to drop 4K damage yet has nothing to do with your teammates, it has nothing to do with the lobby, it has nothing to do with the map. It has everything to do with you and your inability to be introspective and therefore grow. It hinders your success, and that's the one thing that I want to highlight for this video. So go into this video with an open mind, and please just listen to me. I've dropped over 500 plus 4K damage games. I kind of know what I'm talking about. This is how to drop a 4K damage in Season 19 while solo queuing. I had this Pathfinder push me. Kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I got stream sniped by Boy 12, but that's cash money for me. That's an extra kill for me that I probably wouldn't get otherwise, and an extra 150 damage, which is very good, especially off rip when you're trying to go for your first 4K game. So I'm patient. When I drop hot on these maps, especially like Olympus, I typically drop in the center of the map. For Olympus, that's going to be Estates, Energy Depot, or whatever this POI is. I always forget. Other maps on Storm Point or Broken Moon, it varies, but it's typically the same thing on each of those maps. I like to land in the center of those maps. That's where the highest density of players are going to go, and it makes it easier for you to find people so you can get that damage. Notice how I kill this Catalyst right here, and the first thing that I do is thirst her, because I have the ability to. Nobody's pushing me. I turn my attention behind me to this Bangalore, and I do a lot of damage immediately, and I end up closing that gap and killing her for an extra 400 plus damage on this team right here. One thing I want to quickly note from this fight, again, I can thirst this Catalyst right now because there's no immediate threat to me at all. While I'm doing this, I'm listening for footstep audio around me. It's kind of difficult to be able to shoot and listen to audio around you at the same time. So that's something that's going to come with practice. But right now, because I have the opportunity to, I'm going to get this extra damage because it will count for my 4,000 damage. As you'll see right here, my damage goes up every time I get a thirst. And it doesn't matter if this was my kill or somebody else's kill. Every time I thirst somebody, that's an extra 100 damage maximum that I can get towards my 4K damage badge. Watch right here. I have 300 right now. Then I thirst her, and I get an extra 100 damage right there. When I'm thirsting an enemy, I'm always listening to footstep audio, because in the minds of their teammates, when I'm thirsting their teammates, in this scenario, this Bangalore is assuming that I'm distracted. Hence why she pushes my flank, because she thinks that's where I'll be most vulnerable. So if I think ahead of that, and I play a couple moves ahead of her, turning my attention to the Bangalore, assuming that she's going to push my flank, because I think that in her mind, she thinks that I'm distracted and vulnerable right now. And the first place people want to go when I'm distracted and vulnerable is going to be my flank side, which is my 6, behind me, 180 degrees behind me, if you don't know what those terms mean. And so that's exactly what I do. And now, because I thought ahead, I'm already taking my attention to her before she even has her gun out on me. And I get the first shots onto her while she's looking down on the ground, because she assumed, in her mind, that because I thirsted her, I must be somewhere on the ground. What she should have done right here, and I'm giving you guys a little extra this video, what she should have done is, not knowing exactly where I was, she should have opened this door, peeked slowly, maybe stayed behind the door and looked through those cracks to see, am I up here, am I down here? And she herself should have just listened for my footsteps audio. Instead, she runs boisterously straight through that door, without a care in the world, and I end up catching her slipping. And I get some good damage right here. Initially, she only hit a couple bullets onto me right there. I close that gap and get the remaining damage on her. That's 550 damage on just 3 people alone. And so while I do want to focus on the tips that I can give you for specifically dropping 4K damage games this season, I have to give you guys tips on how to fight as well. Because to get those high damage games, and especially high kill games, you have to improve your fighting mechanics. Obviously, that should make intuitive sense. So if I take extra time this video, which I'm sure you guys wouldn't mind, to go over some fighting mechanics, hopefully that's okay with you guys, because I find that to be very beneficial for you guys that are struggling with dropping 4K damage games. And so I picked a decent place to land, and maybe a place like this will be better for you guys, where there's not a million people landing there, but only a few teams, so you can take your time, pick them apart, farm some damage, as opposed to running around with no loot, trying to maneuver between 30 people and survive, which can be hectic even for a player like me. So I like the slow-paced version of 4K games. And so that's one thing I want to focus on this video, is the patience that I exhibit when fighting these duo queues. Because I'm by myself, I have to assume every role on the team, the IGL, the anchor, the fragger, all of these roles that usually are divided amongst your teammates are all now placed onto you as an individual. So I have to play patient. Let these enemies make the mistake. They always will, especially in pubs. I get that one clip on the vantage right there, but I can't thirst her because that position that she's in right there behind the door is going to require a lot of time. So I play the 1v1. I let the Bangalore push me. I close the gap right here, make myself a harder target to hit by slide jumping towards her, and I finish the kill right there. Hopefully you guys won't mind me explaining the situations in this video that are very specific. But again, I think that if you learn these things, put them into your mind, I think even though they're situational, I think you guys will find some use out of it. So again, forgive me if this is not what you want, but this is why people come to me, because I'm thorough. And I genuinely enjoy helping you guys get better. So I get this one clip right here. I know that this vantage is going to mistakenly push me, hence why I'm in the wide open instead of in the cover. I'm baiting her is what I'm doing right here. In most situations, especially if you're not skilled enough, you do want to utilize some cover. Do what's called a jiggle peek. You hide behind cover and you peek just ever so slightly, just so that you can see the enemy, and you go back to cover. That's jiggle peeking right there. But me, I'm in the wide open front and center of this doorway because I'm baiting this vantage. I want her to push me. And it worked out to my favor. So I get the one clip on her. I move around. I make myself small, is what they call you, is what they say for running backs in football. Making yourself small. You know, reducing the size of your hitbox behind objects, especially, much like running backs with their offensive linemen, to wiggle in between those gaps to prevent myself from taking damage, essentially. And so I make myself small. I crouch a little bit over here, just on the side of this AC vent to take off the LOS between me and the Bangalore, wherever she comes, and I pop a cell. I maneuver to this next door here, make myself small again, play this front side of the door, and I'm listening for footstep audio right now. Where can I hear her coming from? Let's see if you guys can hear. So you hear her come to my right side right there. Therefore, I move into the doorway, pop that last cell, and then unexpectedly challenge her right here. My shots aren't going to be the greatest, okay, chat? I just came back from console. I just came back to console a week ago, so bear with me. But I do 120 damage to her right there while she's only able to do 100 to me. I have the health advantage in this fight. This Bangalore is making the mistake that a lot of players make. She is jumping backwards and sliding backwards while I am reloading and jumping forward towards her, closing the gap, which gives me the advantage in this fight because I'm the aggressor. She's on the defense, I'm on the offense. She tries to catch her footing after realizing her mistake because I closed that gap pretty quick. But it was too late by then. I already switched my gun. I already had the up on her, and I win that fight right there as a result. I hope that you guys are learning something by now. Look at the pace that I'm playing at. Look at the patience that I have when I'm taking these 1v2s. And try to implement that into your gameplay. Compare my gameplay right now with yours. What am I doing that you guys seldom do? And maybe what am I not doing that you guys do all the time, which may lead often to your death. Compare and contrast the differences. Evaluate your gameplay and be honest with yourself. Don't make those excuses that I was talking about in the beginning of the video because they won't do anything beneficial for you. And so that's what I hope you're doing when you're watching my videos. Even take notes, handwrite notes if you like. I promise you that will help in your retention as proven scientifically by research, which is why it's very important for you to handwrite notes. And if you want to do that with my tips on Apex, then do it. You know, if this really matters to you, then apply that same effort that you would apply to anything else in your life. Who cares that it's just a video game? If it's important to you, pursue that and achieve those goals that you're setting for yourself. But don't make excuses. I hate excuses. So, as always, even in rank, one thing that I always do is rotate on the perimeter of the map. This way, I'll be able to catch any stragglers coming in from the zone late, which is exactly what happens right now. So I see an Ashe to my right, and I'm assuming that his teammates to my left. That's just typically how duos will push one another. I had this purple armor swap in here, so I'm taking mental notes and I'm being resourceful. If I get cracked, I come back here and I swap on that armor. Mental notes like that. So I don't hear any footstep audio right now, so I'm pushing this Ashe, I believe, right here. She's holding the angle on me, but I already slow peeked. Remember how I told you earlier, the Bangalore that just ran through that doorway without knowing what was there? I don't necessarily know this Ashe is going to be here, but because I played this game for so long, I know that people typically, especially in this location right now, will hold this head glitch on this ramp. So I slow peek it instead of just running straight out to her like you'll see this Mirage do in a second. And I get some damage. I maintain my space. I maintain my distance. I'm able to do damage to her, and now she's out of the fight. It delays them. That's how you play as a solo queuer trying to drop high damage games. This Mirage pushed me crazily. I had no audio on him, but I'm able to reduce him to, what was that, 70 HP. Now I take my attention to my flank, because that's typically how people will push you, especially in duos. They think they're going to catch you by surprise every time, so always be sure to mind your P's and Q's and check your flank. I braced it over aggressively to try to get the thirst. Just so happens that Mirage was there. That was a mess up on my part, but I'm able to kind of make up for it a little bit with that movement tech right there at the end, which helped reduce the amount of damage that I was able to take, and I'm able to finish them off right there. I couldn't get any thirst damage. Again, you never want to die for it. When I tell you guys to thirst, I want you guys to thirst only when it's possible. Please do not get yourself killed trying to thirst. That's almost one of my biggest pet peeves too. I don't want to sit there and spend more than 2 seconds thirsting. If that's the case, a general rule of thumb, stop thirsting. Nothing more than 2 seconds if it's taking that long. Hopefully that helps too, because I don't want you guys to just mindlessly start thirsting and end up getting yourself killed. So we have another rotation here. 8 squads alive, 15 people up, 7 kills, 1,300 damage. Nothing crazy about this game right now. You'll see how I had to farm a little bit at the end of this game, but we'll get there. So I have a Valkyrie right here. I'm assuming that it's 2 people, even though I only saw one. Now I'm confirmed that there's 2 people on this team, and I essentially cracked both of them. Had the Valkyrie almost crack, and I cracked the Mirage right there. And I immediately take a position of high ground. This is something that solo queuers should do. Again, look how slow and patient I'm playing this. I cracked one, cracked the other. No need for me to immediately push. Let me get a vantage point and check my surroundings for maybe third parties, or to see exactly this position of this enemy team that I'm fighting right now. And this is a very tricky fight too. Again, this is why it's important for you to be patient and let the enemy team push you instead of the other way around. I only want you to push as a solo queuer once you have a person knocked and once you have that other person weak. Or if you have a person weak and their teammates nowhere near him, and you can go close that gap in that moment. But look how I'm picking apart this team. The Valkyrie peaks slowly right there. On my head glitch, I'm able to do damage on her. The Mirage vacates his cover. I hit him for 130. I do damage. I do 100 plus damage on both of them. I'm able to pop a battery. Play on this door right here. Pop a syringe. Again, just get a feel for what they're doing and how they're playing. They're not playing aggressive. They're playing actually very scared right now. So I'm taking mental notes of that as well. There's a lot that you could tell on how the players are moving about the skill level they are. And so I back up and utilize the cover of the rock right here and shoot this Valkyrie for 70. She walks out into the wide open, and instead of shooting me, she gets 1 clip because she's using her tactical. This makes this a very scary 1v1 against me in this Mirage. As I've already done major damage to him, he hasn't fully healed, and I'm a full 225. That's a hard position to put your teammate into. And it was definitely the Valkyrie that threw right there. Again, I couldn't do any thirst damage right there. You can't get it every time, but when you can, try and do it. Now I have 9 kills with 2,100 damage. I think I gained, how much damage did I gain from this? From this entire ordeal right here, I gained about 700 damage. 800 damage from just one team alone. And I wasn't even intentionally trying to farm them. I was just taking my time to ensure that I won that fight, and only pushing once I get that first entry knock. And so now there are 5 squads left with a question mark. To be honest, I didn't think I was going to get this 4K. My chat was hyping me up, saying 4K, 4K. This is not a good position for me to be in. I do know, even though there aren't many people alive, that I can turn this into a 4K game. But I'm going to have to be a little aggressive yet a little passive when it comes to my farming right now. Fortunately for me, the entire lobby focused me and didn't focus each other, so I was able to do a lot of damage because of that. I had this conduit challenge me right here. She was so afraid to push me. She instead uses her ultimate. I don't want to challenge her in that ultimate, so that's a executive decision right there to back out of that fight, especially knowing that her teammate is bound to come, which she did. And so with that in mind, I brace it out. The Ashe ended up coming, but now they both back away. I re-engage after I pop that battery because I'm trying to be aggressive. Again, aggressive and passive is a key mixture when dropping 4K damage games. I don't want to play so passive that I'm doing no damage, but I don't want to play so aggressively where I'm dying all the time. So look at the damage that I get on those two people right there. Didn't get any kills. Doesn't matter. I don't need kills for 4K damage games. How many times do I have to tell you that? I allow them to push me once again, but I create space, which is why Loba is such a good solo queue legend. Look at the space I'm able to create and therefore do damage again consistently over and over, repeating that process. That's another 100 damage. I'm able to do it so consistently with Loba, which is why I love playing her so much. I see this team over here. Now I'm taking mental notes. I have a 2-stack to my left, a 2-stack to my right. I'm a solo, and there must be another solo alive. Hence why there's a question mark right now. So right there, I was able to break down the player composition of the lobby right now. Again, they keep pushing me. I keep bracing back, but I'm not running away. I'm holding my ground, using cover to try and do damage, which is what I need. Now I'm getting shot on my butt. That has to be the solo Horizon, who you'll see later in the game. I'm able to get the Ashe knocked right there. Here, realistically, with the pace of this game right now, I would like that Ashe to get thirsted, but if she doesn't, whatever. I can farm damage from her later. She does get thirsted. So I swing this left team right here, who's completely off guard, and do some major damage right here against that fuse, and major damage against the conduit. Now that I got the conduit out of the fight, again, I knocked the fuse. The fuse is no longer in the fight. Why? Because he's knocked. I re-engage with the conduit. I hit her for 140. She's 60 HP. I had the health advantage. She's no longer in the fight. You'd have to be smoking crack right here to re-engage. She has a conduit, so she could have attacked herself. Who knows why she didn't. I'm playing pubs. Not everybody's the smartest. Knowing that the conduit, or assuming that the conduit, because she's weak, is probably running away to safety to heal up, I'm going to thirst this fuse. But also keeping in mind that she may not be doing that. She might be exactly where she was right here, and so that I need to be wary of that. Hence why I run out with my gun right now. I don't know where she is. Don't care where she is. All I know is that she's not near me immediately, so I get this extra 100 damage on this thirst. Thirsting is a skill. Being able to thirst and not sell your teammates' game by going down is important, especially for ranked. Hence why I'm spending so much time talking about it right now. Because if you can thirst every single kill, if I thirsted every 11 kills that I did right here for 100 damage each, that's an extra 1,000 plus damage. Of course, I didn't do that, but that's how important it is. I had to have done it for at least half of these kills, right? So that's 600 plus damage. Free damage that I get from somebody that can't even shoot back at me because they're on the ground, on their knees. Conduit chows me over here on this far side. She didn't full heal. I end up one clipping her. Some pretty good shots by myself right there. And so I play slow now. I know it's a 1v2v1. I want to focus the duo right now. Because if I focus the solo right now and I get him killed out of the game, then it's a pure 1v2. That team knows it's a 1v2. That's when players, even the worst of the worst players, will become super aggressive, hold hands, and make it very difficult for me. But by keeping that other opponent alive, it makes things a little different for them. They play a little scarier, and I can capitalize on that. So right now I'm just playing slow. Actually, sorry, it's not a 1v2 anymore. It's a 1v1v1. I forgot the Ashe died. So even then, this is perfect. I'm trying to get rid of this conduit right here, and I'm focusing this conduit because the whole time she's been playing very weird. Kind of very aggressive, would just keep pushing me, but wouldn't hit many of her shots. So I know that she's not a good player, at least when it comes to her aim. But her confidence is there. There's just a mismatch with her confidence and her aim. And I'm going to take, and I'm going to utilize that and I'm going to use that to my advantage. So I'm looking for that conduit. But of course, I don't have the whereabouts of the Horizon. So I have to be wary of that as well. But I do want to try to farm this conduit for as much damage as possible. Now you'll see, I'm not so much keeping my distance anymore. It's a 1v1. The odds are even. So I take this and look how I'm maneuvering from cover to cover as I push her, cutting off every LOS that she has. She peeked 3 different times right there, but because I run from cover to cover, she had no line of sight on me and was forced to run away because the gap was getting smaller. Now I see the horizon right here behind me. She's able to do about 70 damage on me while I'm able to crack her, so that's a free 100 damage. My attention is not even to her anymore. I'm going to let her heal up and try to take my attention to the conduit wherever she is right after I use my ultimate for batteries and ammo.
I've got 45 seconds. I could probably grab a beleza. Another please.
You guys hear the footstep audio, right, when I unmuted it? That's all I'm doing, especially in situations like this, is what's called sound whoring. Just taking a listen for the footsteps around me and see if I can catch anybody off guard. Just like I did with this conduit. By the time she was able to respond, it was far too late. I'm like a shark on a dolphin right now. Actually, that doesn't make sense. Dolphins be whooping sharks' ass. I'm like a shark on a seal right now. That's what it is. I'm like a predator, an apex that is. And so now it's a 1v1. This is cash money. Only 150 damage left. I really didn't have to farm all that much. A lot of this was unintentional because of that duo earlier. Only 150 more damage. She's bound to be full health. I don't need to try to farm anymore. I'm trying to kill her. I miss a lot of shots, and she actually does even amount of damage to me. So I decided to pop a battery, I believe, on the door. Yes, I do. And so now from here, again, I only need 49 damage for the 4K. All I'm trying to do is kill her. Even if I don't win the game, even if I don't kill her, can I do more than 49 damage? Yes. And why am I so confident? Because I put myself in that position. And in the same way, if you listen to my tips, you could put yourselves in the same position consistently, game after game after game. All I want you to do is focus on getting that first 4K damage, focus on these tips, focus on not making excuses for yourself, and please come back for more. I've made so many videos like this. I make a video like this every season. So if you want more practice, watch my previous videos that I made. And of course, I wish you guys the best of luck, and I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam.